So the NBA season, we pretty much have, and we've done this last 4 to 5 years. We basically go into the season knowing it's like, okay, or thinking we know, oh, LeBron's going to be in the finals, the Warriors are going to be in the finals, boom, bada bing, the Warriors will win. 1 year we thought LeBron was going to win, and we just kind of think it's a formality, right? So we go into this season, well, LeBron's in LA now, so clearly it must be different. No, the general consensus is like, it's going to be the Celtics and it's going to be the Warriors, right? The Celtics are going to take over as the best team in the East. Now LeBron's gone, and the Warriors are still the Warriors. Well, let's look at those two teams for a second. Let's look at the Warriors. Obviously, the Warriors, they broke my heart because they signed DeMarcus Cousins. Now, DeMarcus Cousins, there's a bunch of different things you can play on this. And if you follow me on my other platform, No Filling Podcast, I go into it a little bit more. But the thing that with DeMarcus Cousins is I was initially upset. I was like, wow, how could you go sign with the Warriors? And everybody was like, oh my gosh, you're ruining the league. You're pulling a KD 2.0. And you were doing something that is so unprecedented by signing for such a low minimum. Then, like most news stories now that come out now, is we love the first headline, right? The first headline, it puts out numbers, it makes moves, it's just something attractive about the first headline, even if it's not all the correct information. Then we find out, well, no one made him an offer. And they're like, well, you can't blame DeMarcus Cousins. No one made him an offer. How are you going to tell the guy what? You going to tell him go be unemployed? Go with the Warriors. Then we find out, well, he called the Warriors. Okay, but once again, no offers. Then we find out, well, the Pelicans had offered him 2 for $40 million before the end of the season. He declined that, and then they pulled that offer away. And then they gave him something around like 2 for 15 or 2 for 16, something that was around the Julius Randle contract, either a little more, a little less, but he wasn't happy about being paid the same as Julius Randle. Then let's get all past that. That's my own personal sadness about the trade. The idea that, and the narrative that's getting pushed by the media is, well, the DeMarcus Cousins signing really isn't that big of a deal because he's not even going to be healthy until January or February. The Warriors don't play through a big man. And, it's really not that. It's not a big deal. It's just DeMarcus Cousins. You're right. It's just DeMarcus Cousins. It's just the best offensive center in the league. And if you take from top to bottom, the best overall center in the league, it's just DeMarcus Cousins. It's not like the Warriors just upgraded from JaVale McGee to DeMarcus Cousins. You're right. So how would you feel about if Nick Young left and then a guy like CJ McCollum came in and played for the Warriors? Just an upgrade. Just CJ McCollum. He's really not going to do that much. He's not going to be able to start over Clay. Like, why does it matter? And then this idea that, he's not going to be healthy until the playoffs. The Warriors have cared about a regular season since 2011, 2012. What is this idea that you upgrade a guy who was a Shaqtin' a Fool MVP to a guy who could put up legitimate MVP numbers, and the regular season that they don't really care about to begin with, he's going to be healthy for the postseason, which is the part that they care about. And the one thing you could always say that, a big man could dominate if there's not a lot of big men left, well, you can no longer say that because now they have the best big man in the league. Right? And I've never been big on the whole, the Warriors are the greatest team ever thing. I do think there's teams throughout history that could beat them, whether you wanted to call that being better, more talented, or just the style in which they play. And one of the teams I always used to go to were the 2001 Lakers, right? Shaq would get 45 to 50 points a night if he wanted to on these Warriors. He can no longer do that if DeMarcus Cousins is in the middle. And I'm not saying DeMarcus Cousins is a defensive stalwart. I'm not saying DeMarcus Cousins is a defensive player of the year, an all first team defense, but he is a near 7 foot, 260, 270 pound body that will also make you work on the offensive end. And for all those people that are like, well, he's only going to get 9 or 10 shots. No, he's going to get however many shots the Warriors need him to get. Excuse me. What do I mean by that? The Warriors are Spurs 2.0. The system is so flawless, and the ball moves smoothly, and it just seems like the ball is always in the right place. And whoever needs to be hot that night, they're gonna get the ball. So you're gonna tell me that if Steph maybe not on his game, the ball don't move to Clay, maybe Clay's not on his game, so moves to KD, or KD's not on his game, so Draymond has to do something, or usually you don't get a night where all three of them are off, but you move the ball to whoever's got it. Well, now if the ball's just not falling from any of them, say they all having a cold night, we now have the option once the playoff comes that we can throw the ball to the best offensive center in the game who could, if he had his own team, get you 30 points a night. Okay, and we're going to downplay the signing of DeMarcus Cousins. I want you to tell me a team that has ever had, at any point in history, 4 out of their 5 starting members are either the best or second best player at their position. Because that's what the Warriors have. And 3 of those guys are in the top 10. I can make a case all 5 of the guys are in the top 15. Because the one guy who I'm saying I for sure am not putting in the top 10 is Draymond Green, who's a defensive player of the year and is as valuable without being a superstar as any player we have in the NBA. But DeMarcus Cousins isn't a big deal. All right. Let's also look at the other side, right? That's the Western Conference. And I'm one of those people, I'm kind of a skeptic. I don't think the season's going to matter that much. I think the Warriors are going to run away with it. Sue me, fight me, just we'll go to the end of the season. I've been one of those people ever since LeBron beat the Warriors and everyone said, oh, well, the Cavaliers are going to be the favorites going to the next season. I didn't believe it then because LeBron played the best 4 games of his life, and I didn't think he could duplicate that. And so I was like, well, the Warriors are just going to kind of steamroll this, and look at that. The Warriors are 8-1 in the last 2 NBA Finals. But let's look at the new Eastern heavyweight, the Boston Celtics. I like the Celtics. I like Jason Tatum. I like Jaylen Brown. I like Brad Stevens. You all know how I feel about Kyrie Irving. But understand something, and this is proof that Kyrie Irving is just liked much more on a one-on-one pickup Uncle Drew type of game more than he is actually revered as an NBA great. If the Boston Celtics were, let's say, a Charlotte Hornets or they were a Milwaukee Bucks, no one would have them in the finals this year. Let's look at general and very stereotypical media cliches and media stereotypes, right? So we have Kyrie Irving. That's your star player. Oh, well, he's coming off an injury. But we're not going to count that against him. We'll count Cousins' injury against him. He's coming off an injury. Dwight Howard's been injury prone. He's not going to be the same. But Kyrie's just going to bounce right back. Nothing wrong with him. Okay. I guess there's more people that believe in the guy who thinks the world is flat and is, quite frankly, just not all there in his head. Kyrie's got 3 or 4 really questionable comments. That's taking out the world's flat. Oh, but we have Gordon Hayward, the guy who literally broke his leg. I get it. Maybe you think the Cousins injury with Kyrie is extreme because Cousins has an extreme injury and Kyrie doesn't have his extreme injury, even though Kyrie supposedly had this injury for the last 3 years and played on it and needed surgery. And, the continuous damage he might have given to that muscle because of playing on it. Oh, but then we have torn ACL versus broken leg. Okay. That's a fair comparison. I think those are both pretty impactful injuries, if I do say so myself. Fortunately, I've never broken my leg and I've never torn my ACL. But if I had to compare, I think those are pretty fair comparisons. We're just expecting him to come right back and be okay. I'm not saying that I believe any of this stuff, by the way. I'm just simply going to use what the media has tried to feed me, sports media, since I was a kid, and just throw it back at them and diffuse their logic why the Celtics should be considered the best team in the East or the best team in the league. And there's even guys like a Colin Cowherd on Fox saying they're winning the finals. I then have 20, and I might get their ages wrong here, 22-year-old going into next season, 22-year-old Jason Tatum, or 21-year-old Jason Tatum, and then 22-year-old Jaylen Brown, who in their second and third seasons respectively are going to have even more tape on them. What do we always say about young guys? Well, if you get more tape on them, they're just not going to do as well. But not Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Look at them. Look at them. No, that doesn't affect them. It affects everybody else. All the other athletes, the other 98%. But not them. They're Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I have injury prone, thinks the world is flat. I have coming off a broken leg, never been a true superstar. And I have two guys who are barely legal to order alcohol. And that's what I'm supposed to go to the Eastern Conference Finals and the NBA Finals with? First off, anyone who thinks they have a chance against the Warriors, get that out of your head right now. That's just not happening. If you want to say they'll be in the Eastern Conference Finals, fine. But say that is due to complete complacency amongst the Eastern Conference. Don't elevate a team just because everything else in their respective conference or league is just that inferior that it makes it almost a joke. The Bucks might be the third best team in the Eastern Conference. They might not make the playoffs in the West. This is how bad the Eastern Conference is getting. And don't worry, Philadelphia. You're part of this episode today, too. You will get yours. I'm not just roasting Boston here. We really think that a Celtics Golden State final, with the Celtics having a lot more concerns versus the 3 out of 4 defending champs who just added a top 10 player, whether he's coming off injury or not. And we're saying that's what we have to look forward to this season. It's going to be more competitive than we've had the last 4 years with LeBron. Okay. I put my hands up. Maybe you guys are smarter than me. You are listening to HardFoul Radio. We'll be back momentarily.